What's up guys, I'm BTC. Today we're going to take a look at all the strengths, weaknesses, and counters of Ashe versus all the other heroes. The characters in Overwatch were designed so that while they may be strong against some heroes, they will be weak against others, and knowing when to switch is very important. This video is to help you better understand those matchups and what heroes will counter Ashe and which ones she is a good counter against. But keep in mind that just because a hero is strong against another, it doesn't mean it's an automatic win. Player skill and other factors play a big part in determining who wins the fight. Let's get started. Very weak against D.Va. At long range, Ashe's damage works well, however D.Va can easily close the distance and burst down Ashe. Defense Matrix will not only destroy the dynamite, but also prevent the damage and knockback from the coach gun, significantly reducing the spacing that Ashe needs. D.Va should be considered a hard counter. Somewhat weak against Orisa. This matchup mostly has to do with denying Ashe the ability to deal damage. Her hipfire DPS is low, and the ADS takes too long to destroy the barrier. By the time the barrier is destroyed, Orisa can replace it. Using the TNT above the barrier has minimal effect due to Orisa's armor and 50% damage resistance from Fortify. Fortify will also prevent the coach gun knockback and stop the charge from Bob. Some advantage against Reinhardt. His barrier is easier to destroy than Orisa's, and the TNT is much more effective when he's hunkered down behind it. The coach gun can also entirely disrupt Reinhardt's charge. Bob is also very effective as he will place himself behind the Reinhardt after the charge, leaving Reinhardt open to attack from one side. Strong against Roadhog. With no barrier to defend himself, Ashe can easily land critical hits at distance. She can also position herself on high ground above the Roadhog, making hooks more difficult. If Ashe is hooked at full health, the coach gun does provide some chance and escape, but most of the time Ashe should be out of the range anyways. Roadhog's large hitbox also makes it easy to hit him with the TNT. Fairly weak against Winston. While his large hit and critical box makes it easy to land attacks, Winston can easily close the distance on Ashe. Even if she tries to escape with the coach gun, good positioning of the barrier will prevent the damage and the knockback on Winston. And Winston's abilities have much lower cooldown, so he can continue to chase and secure the kill. Winston's Primal Rage ultimate is also good at soaking up the damage from Bob, allowing Winston's teammates to attack Bob uncontested. Fairly weak against Hammond. While in ball form, Hammond is immune to Ashe's high damage critical hits, and he can easily close the distance. Like Winston, his cooldowns are much shorter than Ashe's, so even if he gets pushed away with the coach gun, he can immediately re-engage. Some advantage against Zarya. Ashe will almost always be out of range of Zarya's primary attack, and the coach gun can push Zarya away when she gets too close, or allow Ashe to take high ground, preventing the majority of damage from Zarya altogether. Ashe must be careful with the TNT, however, as it is easy for Zarya to use it to charge her damage, and also the fire damage over time effect can be cleansed with the bubble. For obvious reasons, the mirror matchup against Ashe is always going to be neutral. Slight advantage against Bastion. Ashe can poke out and land hits on Bastion without putting herself in much danger. The TNT also works extremely well against the stationary target like Bastion in his Sentry mode. While in Recon mode, Bastion is at a significant disadvantage versus Ashe's ADS. However, Ashe's ultimate Bob is nearly worthless against the Bastion in Sentry mode. Minor advantage against Doomfist. If Doomfist is going after another target, Ashe's ADS can quickly bring him down. If Doomfist goes after Ashe with the Rocket Punch, she can quickly reposition herself to dodge it. If Doomfist tries the Seismic Slam and Uppercut combo on Ashe, she can interrupt it with the coach gun. Bob is also extremely effective against Doomfist, shutting down the area and preventing Doomfist from engaging altogether. Fairly weak against Genji. He has the mobility to close the distance quickly, and at close range, Ashe's ADS is a lot less effective. He can also reflect the dynamite and the coach gun. Some disadvantage against Hanzo. Both heroes are mid-range DPS, but Hanzo has a slight edge in mobility and damage. The deciding factor is that Hanzo can one-shot Ashe, but she requires 2 or 3 shots to kill Hanzo. Very strong against Junkrat. Ashe can easily keep enough distance between the two where her hit scan attack is much more effective than his slow arcing projectile. Ashe can also position herself on high ground to limit potential advantages Junkrat may have. Some advantage against McCree. At medium and long range, Ashe's ADS gives her a slight edge in both damage and aiming. At close range, McCree's stun and fan combo would make short work of Ashe, but her coach gun can ensure that she always maintains a safe distance. The coach gun also gives her significantly better mobility and access to high ground than McCree can get. Some advantage against Mei. At medium and long range, Ashe will always have the advantage. If Mei tries to close the distance, the coach gun can push her away or launch Ashe up onto high ground and to safety. When Mei uses the ice block, the TNT can be used for immediate follow-up damage. Very strong against Pharah. Ashe's high damage ADS hit scan is extremely effective against her. The coach gun provides Ashe with better positioning than other hit scans have access to, and when needed, can even save Ashe from a knockback environmental kill. Strong against Reaper. Ashe should always be in a position far away, completely eliminating any damage he might do. If he tries to close the distance, the coach gun can put Ashe on high ground and out of reach of Reaper. Unlike other characters with chase down abilities, if Reaper tries to teleport to the high ground, it will result in his instant death. However, Reaper is extremely good at destroying Bob, so long as Bob's attention is somewhere else. Some advantage against Soldier 76. Ashe has better mobility and higher damage with her primary attack. The high damage ADS critical can negate the healing effect of the biotic field. The biotic field can also be rendered nearly useless by throwing TNT into the center of it. This forces Soldier out of the field, and if he doesn't, then the fire over time will negate much of the healing anyways. Some disadvantage against Sombra. Her hack and EMP aren't particularly effective against Ashe, but will completely disable Bob, rendering the ultimate useless. Sombra is also able to close the distance on Ashe, where Sombra's attack is strongest and Ashe's ADS is weakest. Very strong against Symmetra. At medium and long range, Ashe has a massive advantage as Symmetra's slow-moving orbs are easy to avoid at that distance. The TNT can clear out Symmetra's sentries if they're around a corner or behind a wall without putting Ashe in any danger. If Symmetra uses her ultimate, Bob will go right through it, forcing the enemy team to focus on him, while Ashe and her team move forward and through the barrier as well. Some advantage against Torbjorn. At longer range, Ashe's hit scan is much more effective than Torbjorn's projectile attack. If Torbjorn tries to close the distance, Ashe can create space or take high ground with the coach gun, and it can be used to easily avoid Torbjorn's ultimate Molten Core. Ashe also has little difficulty in destroying Torbjorn's turrets. Fairly weak against Tracer. Tracer is able to close the distance quickly where her damage is strong and Ashe's ADS is bad. Tracer can easily blink away from the TNT or rewind out of its damage. Her blink cooldowns are also a lot shorter than the coach gun, allowing her to re-engage when needed. One advantage that Ashe does have is that a single critical ADS will take out the Tracer. Extremely weak against Widowmaker. At long range, Ashe has significant damage drop-off, while Widowmaker has none. This means it might take Ashe 3 or 4 hits to kill the Widowmaker, but Widow requires only 1 hit to kill Ashe. Widow also has significantly better magnification on her scope than Ashe does with ADS. Widow should be considered a hard counter to Ashe. Weak against Ana because Ana will likely be in the far back line of the enemy team, where Ashe will have significant damage reduction due to fall off. Because of this, in a long-range duel, Ana actually has the advantage. They both do about the same damage, but Ana will be able to heal herself and Ashe cannot. Ana is also quite effective at dealing with Bob, as she can simply put him to sleep, wasting a significant portion of the ultimate uptime. Strong against Brigitte. Because of the shield's low health, Ashe can easily destroy it by herself. Ashe will also be playing at a distance outside of Brigitte's attack range. If Brigitte does close the distance, the coach gun and its mobility can put distance between the two of them, or can put Ashe onto the high ground and out of Brigitte's attack range completely. Some advantage against Lucio. Ashe's ADS, coach gun, and TNT can put a stop to Lucio trying to stall a capture point or payload. The high burst damage of Ashe's ADS makes the slow overtime healing of Lucio less effective. The coach gun can also save Ashe from an untimely environmental death caused by Lucio's boop. Very strong against Mercy. Ashe's high burst damage minimizes the effectiveness of Mercy's passive self-heal. The ADS hit scan also works extremely well against Mercy in the sky. If Mercy tries to res without the protection of a barrier, it's nearly a free kill for Ashe. Some advantage against Moira. Ashe will mostly be out of range and can easily avoid the damage orbs. Ashe's high burst damage can overtake Moira's self-healing, and the TNT can be effective against Moira as she will generally be near several teammates and Ashe will hit all of them at the same time. Moira can use Fade to remove the fire damage over time effect, but this leaves her vulnerable to follow-up damage as she will no longer have that as an escape mechanism. Fairly strong against Zenyatta. At range, Ashe's hit scan attack is better than Zenyatta's projectile, and Ashe should win most duels. Zenyatta's slow overtime healing is also less effective versus Ashe's higher burst damage. If you want to learn more about Ashe, I made a complete guide to all of her attacks and abilities, and I also made a video going through all of her interactions. Both of those links will be on screen and down below. What hero counters, strengths, and weaknesses would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.